Do you want to learn how to integrate Google Maps inside your custom ReactJS component? You're in luck. That's exactly what I am going to teach you in this tutorial. And this is the final result that you can reuse in other projects just by doing a tiny modification to the code. Of course, that all of the usual functionalities are in place and work, such as satellite view, if you click, the full screen view. You can definitely zoom in or zoom out, and you can also use the street view. You get my point here. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this location is very popular in Portugal. But you can do the same for any location in the world, of course. All you have to do is to get the GPS coordinates for that place that you want to display on the map. But if you don't know how to get the places coordinates, just use the timestamps below in this video's description to learn about that. But for this tutorial, I will provide these GPS coordinates in case you want to test this yourself. So let's do this. As you can see, I am inside an empty folder and I'm about to start a new next project by running this command right here. So all I have to do is to press enter. We are going to use TypeScript as lint. Tailwind CSS will be used for basic styling, but I won't cover Tailwind CSS. The source will not be used, and the app router, of course, will be used. So I don't need to customize the default imports. Time to install the two dependencies that we need to build this project. So I'm going to type npm I, and I'm going to copy paste the package's name so I make sure that I do not mess up. That's the first one actually, and the second one actually relates to the types. Okay, press enter and let's wait until this finishes. Next step, you need to go to this website, of course, because we will need the API key so the service actually works. I already have an account and my API key ready, but you need to sign up and get your own API key. So just go through the sign up process and look for Maps Datasets API, and you will get to what you need. Disclaimer, this is a paid service, but you can set up a free account and use the free trial period to test the API in your project. That's exactly what I did. Okay, so you don't really have to spend any money unless you want to continue using this. Okay, so the registration process is straightforward. You click get started, register an account now, and come back to this video once you have your own API key. I will be waiting for you right here. Great, you're back. Hopefully you have your own API key ready because you will need it for the .env.local file that we are about to create. So let's do that. In the root level, we need to create the file. So .env.local. Okay, and then we can create our variable, and I'm just gonna copy paste the format for you to follow. So this is going to be the Google Maps API key, and you need to stick with this format, okay, to make sure this works. And of course you need to replace this with your actual API key. Before running our development server and creating our custom Google Maps component, let's just do the usual file cleanup. So inside app, you will find the globals.css, and as usual, we can get rid of everything, excluding the tailwind rules at the top. And then you can navigate to our home page and get rid of the main, whatever it's inside the main, and you can just replace that with a h1 tag that only says home, and you can also delete this import that is not going to be needed. Now we can run our development server. So super easy, npm run dev, boom. There you have it. Our application is running under localhost 3001 for me, okay? So it is time to create the custom component, the Google Maps custom component, and call it inside the home page. So let's do that. So inside app, we're gonna create the usual components folder. Inside that folder, we are going to create the Google Maps.tsx because we are using TypeScript, of course, and we can use the shortcut to create our basic structure for the component. This is all good. So now we can import this created component inside our home. So we can import Google Maps, okay, and we can return an empty React fragment instead of home, and then we can render our Google Maps custom component inside. This is all good, okay? And as you can see, it changed to Google Maps because that's what we have here. So now we can close this file and we are going to work inside this Google Maps custom component. So I'm gonna just change the view to word wrap so you see everything that I'm doing. Okay, let's build this. So as you remember, we installed a package, Google Maps, okay, package. So we need to use that package. We need to grab the loader from that package, and we also need to use effect React hook, which means the first thing that we actually need to do, so we don't forget, is to change this into client-side components by typing use client string right at the top. And then I can also, not an array, sorry, an object, I can also grab my use effect hook that I'm gonna need, okay? So below, I'm gonna import my loader, which is going to be necessary, and I'm gonna do that from the Google Maps JS API loader. So this is what I need. So maps, as you for sure know, work with latitudes and longitudes, okay? So we need to pass those values, okay? Now inside our custom component, the first thing that I actually want to do is to define a map ref variable. And you can read about this use ref in the documentation, but I'm just gonna type this out. So map ref, okay, because we will need this, and this is going to be a React use ref, okay, and we're gonna set this to null to start with, okay. So all good. So this use ref, it's a React hook that let us reference a value that is not needed for rendering. And what I just said is actually written in the documentation, okay? So now we need to use the use effect in order to initialize our Google map. So that's what we need to do right now. I went ahead and of course created a basic use effect hook syntax, and inside this use effect is where we're gonna do all of the logic, okay? And because this is going to require communication with the server, we'll also need to use async and await. So the first thing that I want to do is to initialize my map. Okay, for that I'm going to create a const. I'm going to call it initialize map, and this is going to equal async. There we go. And I'm just writing the basic syntax for this. Okay, in here I'm gonna create a const for my loader. Okay, and we have imported the loader at the top. So const loader equals a new loader. Okay, and this takes in an object. Okay, inside this object we need to pass the API key, and you should have yours by now. So for that I'm gonna actually process dot env dot, and now the variable name, which was next public, and make sure to use this syntax, otherwise I think it will not work. Maps API key. Okay, and a comma, and we need to pass the version, which means which relates to the updates, how often these updates are done. I'm gonna go with quarterly. I think that's one option. You can explore more options by hovering on this property. As you can see, weekly is also an option, or you can check the docs. Okay, now we have a problem, API key, and this relates to the types. So I need to define it as a string, and this should take care of that error. Hopefully it does, and it does. Cool. So this is good. We can now continue. So below here, I can in fact start my map const. So I'm gonna do const. I'm gonna bring the map. I'm gonna destructure the map, and this requires a wait because we are using async. And I'm gonna access my loader dot import library, and you can import a lot of things, but now I'm gonna just go with maps. Okay, and if we just hover on here and actually press, we can see that we can actually import a lot of things, and we will be doing that for the marker later in this tutorial. Okay, so just to mention that. Okay, next we need to pass in the location details, the latitude and the longitude for this location in the map. Okay, and I have this specific place as I showed you in this project intro, so I'm just gonna copy paste this to be faster, and of course you cannot mess up with this, otherwise things will break. Okay, okay, I have now my latitude and my longitude. Okay, and notice how these are written. Okay, so now we can move on and create our map options. Okay, and so I do not forget, I'm actually also leave a comment here for the marker that we will later on add as mentioned. Okay, so but now I want to create a const for my Google Maps options. So const options, which is going to be the type of google.maps.map map options, I believe. Map options. I think this is it. And this is going to be an object. And inside, I'm going to pass some information. Okay. What information is this? Where I want to center the map. And I want to center the map in this specific location. Okay. So I'm going to define the center and then pass this value, because I want this to be centered in my map, if that makes sense. And I can also add the zoom And the zoom level, I'm gonna go with, I don't know, 15. And most roadmap imagery is available from zoom levels 0 to 18. So you can play with these numbers and customize it to your own needs. And finally, the last option that we need to pass is our map ID, which is actually a string, and I'm gonna call this next underscore maps underscore tuts, whatever. Okay. Now that we have this, we actually need to feed our map with this map reference. So the next thing that I want to do, oh, and I'm already forgetting two things. So this use effect, I want to pass the dependency array, so the empty array. And so I do not forget, otherwise this will not work, I actually need to call this function. So let me just initialize this function, call this function, so this actually works. So this should be all good. So continuing, what I want to do now is to create the map with the help of this hook, the use ref react hook. So I can now, still inside the use effect, okay, I can now define my const map, okay, oops, not like that, what the heck am I doing, const map equals to what? Equals to a new map, and this is, we need to pass more information, okay, so we need to pass map dot ref dot current, okay, and we need to pass our options, these options that we select, that we defined right here. And there's like okay, TypeScript, of course, so we need to pass this as a HTML div element, I think this is it, and we need to pass that inside, if I'm not wrong, in here. I believe all I have to do is this. Oops, there we go. Did this work? Okay. Okay, I added an extra dot here, which I don't need. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm passing that. Looks good to me. So I now have that, and yeah, we might have something. I think we can now start to build a UI to display the map. So we don't have anything yet, okay, but we should have, because we don't have any UI. But yeah, let's create that UI and display that. Let's start with the styling part. I'm gonna give this map a custom height of 600 pixels. You can give it a screen, height screen, utility class, whatever you want, it's up to you. And I need to pass the ref. Oh, what the heck am I doing? Not there, sorry. I need to pass the ref, and this ref, it's going to be my map ref, this one, okay. And if I now refresh, hopefully we'll see a map on the screen, and we do see it. Great. So this is working, and we already have, just like that, we already have pretty much all the functionalities. So we have the satellite view. If I click, yeah, it works. Back to the map, the full screen, and now I escape. So zoom in, zoom out, street view. Yeah, this is all working, and we didn't do this pretty much. This is kind of included. So now all we want to do is actually to add the marker here in this place, because we are marking this place, Nazaré. So let's work on that. I believe we already created a comment. There we go. We created this comment for the marker. For us to be able to use the marker, we need to import another library. So I'm going to define another const. So this is going to be the marker, and this is equal to await loader. Yeah, grabbing the loader one more time, dot import library. Okay, and this time we want to import the marker. Okay, and we need to do that as a Google Maps marker, otherwise it's going to complain. So Google .maps marker marker library. I think this is all we need. This should be good in terms of this import. So let's see. Let's continue. So the marker import is done. So it's time for us to actually add the marker in the map. So I can go here and I can add a comment. So add the marker in the map. So I need to define another const marker, and this will be equal to a new marker, of course, which takes an object, and we need to pass the information. So the map is going to be our map. Yeah, of course, there we go. The map is going to be our map, and we also need to pass this position. So position, and we have defined our position, which is location in map. So we need to pass that as well. And this should, if we refresh, there we go. Now we have the marker. So this is definitely done, and this is definitely working. So everything still works amazing. Super cool, super fast, and because this is React at the end of the day under the hood, so this means that this component can be reused by just changing the UI a tiny bit in case you want to do so. And of course, you need to pass different coordinates, and then you can reuse this code in other projects. And this is the beauty of React. So now the question is, we need to feed our component with these coordinates, but how do you get the coordinates from a specific place? Let's assume that you wanted to display the London Eye in your website, in your web application. So how can you get these coordinates? In case you don't know, it's super simple. You just pick whatever location that you want, and you just right click, and there you go. You have the coordinates right here. Okay, or of course you can definitely go somewhere else. Maybe you want to display Soho coordinates, I don't know, and then you can just right click and you get the coordinates for Soho in United Kingdom, London. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. So if this was helpful to you, do not forget to share, to like, and to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next tutorial.